Hello, this is Karia again, and I have another video for you today. Today, I am going to be comparing the Inktense blocks to the Cretacolor Aqua Briques. They're not exactly the same thing, but you know, I figure let's have fun and let's compare them. So let's get started. Before we start, there is an Amazon tip. There's a tip jar up there. Amazon wish list down below. The tip jar is the same thing as the thing that says support this channel. Subscribe if you like this video if you like this video. Okay, let's get started. First things first, let me talk to you about what these things are. These are both in the same form factor, though the composition is slightly different. They're basically blocks of water-soluble media. In case of the Inktense, these are ink in block form, and the Inktense also come in pencils. But they're not, the company says they're not watercolor. And the Cretacolor is pigment, and it comes in a set like this. I think there's different sets. This is a set that I got. And it comes with 10 colors, and these are called the half-size bricks. And they are, these are the colors that you get, and you also get a nice little sponge, as well as a little mini work area here. The Inktense are similar. You get these little couple of mixing palettes here. So I'm gonna take a break real quick, get some water, and I'll be right back. Okay, I am back. Have brush, have water, have notes, and I also have a cat who is right here next to me. It's partly my fault for putting the box right there, but anyway, there you go. So the Inktense are they're made by the company Derwent, which is a British company, and Derwent has been in the business for a long time. They make all sorts of things, pencils, different sorts of things. These are, the Inktense come in blocks as well as pencils. So you can get Inktense pencils, and these are, you know, I'm not dabbing the brush as much as I probably should to get maybe a little bit less bleed through between the colors. But I did want to show you this, so you can see that these are water soluble, and they do seem to dissolve really nicely, this ink medium. These are not lightfast, so that's one of the things that differentiates the two, besides the fact that these are ink and the other ones are not ink, is the fact that these are not lightfast, whereas the Aqua Briques are lightfast. The Inktense also come in more colors. Let me get the paper and tell you how many colors the Inktense come in. The Inktense come in 72 colors, starting from the set of 12, which is normally $13. I got my set for $6. But they're normally $13 for the set. The sets that they come in are 12, 24, 36, and 72, and they are permanent after drying. So that's one of the things that makes them special. They're also sold open stock, and I mentioned that they are not lightfast. Yeah, see. So these are the Inktense, and as you can see, they do seem to dissolve really nicely. And it's really interesting feel. It definitely feels a little bit different than watercolor. And because it's ink, I feel like it's a little bit easier to dissolve them than I've definitely had with some other things like crayons. I've reviewed crayons in the past that dissolve in water, and these do seem to be a little bit easier to dissolve. The other thing that you can do with these, and part of the reason why a lot of people like them, I'm going to move the water over here, is that you can brush here in the thing and then lay down some color right here. Looks like my brush was not clean enough. Hold on. See me here is you can pick up some color and use it this way. And if you saw my video that I did on Derwent, not the Derwent, I'm sorry, that I did on the Albert Der watercolor pencil. It's a sort of similar thing where you can use it as a palette, except that it's in stick form, so it's a little bit easier to do this with. as opposed to with the Albert Dürer watercolor pencil where you had to hold the pencil. But again, these are ink and not true watercolor as such. So if you're going to use these, and since they're not light fast, you're either going to have to do something about them, or you're going to have to just use these for, you know, and then take a picture as soon as you finish with it, before you decide to display it or not display it, as the case may be, however you want to do. But I wanted to show you how you can use these as a brush, and then you can use them in the, hold on, let me show you the little tray a little bit better. In the tray, they come with this little mixing area, so you can mix the colors in together. I haven't done that yet, but from what I've seen of other people's videos, it looks like they mix pretty nicely, as well they should. Usually when you have something like this and you can mix it in the colors like that, they tend to mix really nicely. I think I missed a color. So and because of this, I think that one of the things that I think that I like about this is that unlike with like pencils and stuff, this will make it a lot easier, especially for people who, when I did the Neocolor video, I talked about how some people use the Neocolor as a palette and they hold a Neocolor pencil like this and then they do it. But I think with these Inktense, that'll be a little bit easier to do than it was with the Neocolor. So I was hoping that there was a brown skin skin tone here. It doesn't look like they did, unless this is it right here. Nope, it doesn't look like they gave me one, but this is a black right here. So the lowest color is a black. So it doesn't look like I got a brown skin tone, but that's okay. So supposedly with these, like once what I've done here is dry, I can then go back in and layer it and do that. So that's pretty neat. So I'm gonna set this aside, and I am going to, I think my water's looking a little messy, so I'm gonna go change out my water. All right, I am back. I went and I made the sponge all big. The sponge, I hope I showed it to you, but it fit into this tiny little thing here. And then when I added water, it just grew and it just got really big. Stewie, can you position yourself however you're gonna be? Make yourself at home and, you know, quit with the noise. Okay, thank you, Stewie. I appreciate that. Anyway, and I made the sponge a full size, and it's a really nice big sponge. And I think that once it dries, I think it's gonna shrink up again to about this size. So that's pretty neat in terms of the sponge. And you can do the sponge for all sorts of different effects, but we're not gonna do the effects just yet. Right now, I just want to dissolve this color and see what it all looks like. One of the first differences that you'll see with these two is that this set gives you a white, which the specific Inktense set that I got does not give you a white. There is a white in the Inktense, I think, if you get a larger set. The other thing is that these, this is from Cretacolor, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Cretacolor is based in Austria, so there is that that you can see, and it's got a really nice feel. One of the first things that I see is that this is a little bit harder to dissolve, which may or may not be to your liking. Once you lay the color down, it's a little bit harder to get it to dissolve. So there's that. So that may or may not be to your liking. The Inktense seems to drop a lot of color really, really fast. So this is a more controlled color deposit. So that's something to keep in mind. This is also, because this is light fast, it's also a little bit more expensive. Let me get the information out for you. This is $29 for the set of 10, and then there is a larger set of 20, which I haven't seen sold anywhere, but if you can see the larger size of 20, there is that. This is called the Aqua Brique from Cretacolor. It is watercolor pigment. They are light fast, and I think, from my understanding, is that this is a relatively new product, so that we may be seeing more sizes and more color combinations in the future. So there is that. And I feel like this, it seems to depend a little bit on the color, how quickly they dissolve on the paper, because the red dissolved right away. And I also want to thank the folks at Faber for sending me out these to try. So I really appreciate that, because otherwise I would never know about this product. Let me scooch this up a little bit so you can see a little bit better. And then now I'm going to try to get some water, see if I can get some blendability on here. Oh, hold on. I'm going to need a little bit more water to get all of this out. So this is really interesting. I think that this is probably more if you want there to be traces of the color behind what you've done. Also, oh, you know what I haven't tried with these? Is I have not tried this where you pick up the color like I did with the Inktense. Let me move it here where you pick up the color with the brush. Pick up the yellow. This is really nice. This feels more, in terms of picking up the color, it feels more like working with artist half pans. If you've ever worked with watercolor paint in the half pans, this definitely feels closer to that than the Inktense, which didn't feel as controlled, I want to say. This feels a little bit more like working with half pans, picking these up with the colors here. And I think that the color is a little bit richer when you just get it from here in this way than if you color it in first. It could also be me, but I feel like that's what you guys have been seeing. And let me make this out. I hope this isn't too long and boring for you guys to see this. So the other thing that you can do with both of these is you can put the color into like a, you can sort of scratch it out with like a nail file or with something like this. That's my doorbell. I hope you guys didn't hear that. With something like this, and then you can get a powder over the paper and you can add like a mister to it. That's something else that you can do with both of these. Where was I? I just did the light blue. Okay. Let me do the light green. So this definitely behaves more like half pans, which is kind of cool. So like this is kind of cool because like if you want to use these for your backgrounds, for your coloring books, and use these for your backgrounds, then you don't have to invest in paints and then Inktense and then all of that. So you can get all that in just this one package. So that's kind of neat. And since the sponge is included, I'm definitely gonna use the sponge before we leave to see what sorts of things I can do with the sponge. So I'm definitely gonna do that. All right, here is the black, the last one. Why black always gotta be last? See, that's not okay. See, that's not okay. What? See, I'm why we can't have nice things. Okay. So then now I think I'm gonna take the sponge. Make it here. Oh, that picked up a lot. Oh, that's really neat. Oh, that's super neat. Oh, that's really neat. Hold on. I wonder if you could probably do other things with it. You could probably pick up a little bit of the yellow and then a little bit of the red and make like a little, oh, hold. See now I'm starting to get ideas. Now I'm starting to get ideas. 1 second. Let me clean the sponge off just a little bit and then get a little bit of the yellow and a little bit of the orange and get a little bit of those two together. And then, oh, that's really nice. Oh, that's super neat. Oh, that's really neat. Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. All right. So, yeah, so that's pretty neat. So these are two totally similar and yet totally different things that you guys have an option to do with your adult coloring books for your backgrounds. I am noticing too that these take a little bit longer to dry, which may or may not be good depending on what you want. Oh, there's a lot of color in here. So I think that part of it might just be that I wasn't picking up the color as well, because there is a lot of color in there. It's just that I wasn't doing it, you know. I think, oh yeah, look at all that color that's in there. So there is a lot of color in there. So just to show you guys these two different things that you can do. Overall for me, I really like, even though the Inktense is more vibrant off the top, like it looks more vibrant, I think once it starts to dry, the Aqua Brique definitely looks a little bit more vibrant once it starts to dry. I think the Inktense is more bolder, like when you first start, because it is ink. But the Aqua Brique definitely holds up once it starts to dry a little bit. And the other thing is, you know, you can't underestimate light fastness. You really can't. And I really like the light fastness on the Aqua Brique. Plus, this included sponge is really fun. I mean, I'm sure you can do a sponging trick with the Inktense too, but this included sponge is really fun. So I really like the included sponge. Overall, I mean, it's up to you to decide which one you want to do. I like the idea of having it in this really neat set where it's just the sponge and this other thing, but I see the appeal of the Inktense. Overall, not being able to have it be light fast is kind of a deterrent for me. But here are the two different things for you guys to check out. Let me show you them again so you guys can see the two different things in their respective cases. So I hope you guys liked this video, and I hope you found it helpful. Let me know what you guys think, and if you have any questions, and if you guys want to see any tutorials with either one of these, let me know. I'll definitely be using them for backgrounds, so you'll probably see more of these when I actually start using them for backgrounds, but I wanted to show you my early impressions so you guys can see it right away. All right, and I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys later. Bye.